What if you spent $8 billion on a weapon but couldn't fully control it? And what if the country sold it to you could shut it down remotely? The German government is now reconsidering its $8.4 billion deal to purchase 35 F-35 fighter jets from the United States. This unexpected move has freaked out the Trump administration and global defense analysts. But the concern isn't about combat performance. It's about a kill switch, a built-in feature that allows the U.S. to disable the aircraft remotely if necessary. As geopolitical tensions rise between Washington and Europe, Berlin is questioning whether it can trust the alliance. If relations fracture, would the U.S. use that control against them? Germany's hesitation is not an isolated case. NATO allies are stepping back, raising a broader question. Is the F-35 losing its dominance as NATO's standard fighter jet? Let's start with Germany. They've been blunt in their condemnation of Trump's policies. We're talking about trade wars, tariffs, and economic policies sending shockwaves through the global economy. Germany, being an economic powerhouse, is feeling the heat, and they're not afraid to say it. And then there's Canada, usually known for its politeness, caught in the crossfire and not backing down. Canada has its own bone to pick with Trump, finding common cause with Germany in pushing back against his policies. To understand Germany's ire, we need to rewind and examine the events straining the U.S.-German relationship. It began with Trump's aggressive trade policies, particularly tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from the EU. Adding fuel to the fire were Trump's repeated attacks on Germany's trade surplus with the U.S. Beyond trade, Trump's disregard for diplomatic norms and unilateral decisions further strained the relationship. His withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement was met with widespread condemnation in Germany. While economic concerns form the crux of Germany's grievances, there's a deeper layer to their discontent. Germany views Trump's rhetoric and policies as a threat to the liberal international order. They feel increasingly alienated by the Trump administration's dismissive attitude towards its European allies. Trump's personal attacks and attempts to sow discord within the EU have compounded this sense of estrangement. Germany's criticisms reflect a fundamental clash of values and worldviews. Canada, often stereotyped for its politeness, has emerged as a vocal critic of the Trump administration. Prime Minister Mark Carney has condemned Trump's tariffs as unjust and harmful to the Canadian economy. Canada has taken concrete actions, joining the EU in filing a complaint against the U.S. at the World Trade Organization. Canadians themselves are making their voices heard through editorials and protests. The special relationship between Canada and the U.S. has been put to the test, with many questioning whether the Trump administration sees them as a true ally. To understand Canada's response, we need to look at the long and complex history between these two North American neighbors. Canada and the U.S. have enjoyed a unique relationship, built on shared values and intertwined economies. But this relationship has always been marked by an undercurrent of tension, particularly over trade issues. Canadians pride themselves on their distinct identity and more measured approach to international affairs. Trump's brash style and America First rhetoric have struck a nerve in Canada, reinforcing anxieties about American dominance. Stay tuned to understand the intricate effects of the trade war and political dynamics on the global stage. The trade war initiated by Trump's administration has not only strained relations with countries like Germany and Canada, but has also created a ripple effect across the globe. From increased tariffs to retaliatory measures, nations are reevaluating their trade strategies and alliances. The impact is multifaceted, affecting everything from international diplomacy to local economies. In the next segment, we will delve deeper into how these trade conflicts have reshaped the global economic landscape and altered political alliances. This is not just about numbers and policies. It's about the shifting balance of power and the future of international cooperation. Canada's support for Germany is part of a broader trend, a growing global backlash against Trump's policies. From Berlin to Tokyo, there's a palpable sense of unease towards the Trump administration's actions. Countries that once looked to the U.S. for leadership are now questioning its reliability. This global backlash is about a fundamental difference in worldview. The question is, what will be the lasting impact of this global backlash against Trumpism? Stay tuned, and don't forget to comment your thoughts below. While Trump boasts about making America great again, a closer look reveals a more complex reality. His economic policies have created deep fissures within the American economy. One of the most contentious aspects has been his 25% tariffs for Canada, Mexico, EU, and significantly 25% car import tariffs from Germany and other countries. The trade war, Trump's weapon of choice, has driven up prices for consumers and hurt American businesses. The stock market's performance tells a misleading story, fueling unease and distrust in Trump's economic stewardship. Perhaps the most troubling aspect of Trump's economic policies is their uneven impact on American workers. Manufacturing has experienced mixed results, with some companies bringing back jobs and others laying off workers. Farmers have found themselves caught in the crossfire of the trade war, with China retaliating against Trump's tariffs. Workers in service industries have felt the pinch of rising costs and stagnant wages. The promised wage growth has largely failed to materialize, leaving many workers feeling left behind. The price of protectionism, unintended consequences and collateral damage. Trump's embrace of protectionism, a departure from decades of U.S. economic policy that emphasized free trade and globalization, has had far-reaching and often unintended consequences, both domestically and internationally. The tariffs intended to protect American industries from foreign competition have disrupted global supply chains, raised prices for consumers, and created uncertainty in the global economy. One of the most immediate and visible impacts of the trade war has been the rise in prices for consumer goods. From washing machines to cars to everyday household items, the tariffs have rippled through the economy, hitting consumers' wallets and fueling inflation. This has disproportionately affected lower-income households, who spend a larger portion of their income on basic necessities. Beyond the direct impact on consumers, the trade war has created uncertainty and instability in the global economy. Businesses, faced with unpredictable tariffs and shifting trade policies, have delayed investments, scaled back expansion plans, and in some cases, moved operations overseas to avoid the tariffs altogether. This has slowed economic growth both in the U.S. and globally, undermining the very goals Trump claimed to be pursuing. The tariffs have also had a chilling effect on innovation and competition. By shielding American industries from foreign competition, Trump's protectionist policies have reduced the incentive for American companies to innovate and improve their products and services. This lack of competition, while perhaps benefiting some companies in the short term, could have long-term consequences for American competitiveness and economic dynamism. Beyond the balance sheet, the erosion of trust and global standing. Perhaps the most enduring legacy of Trump's economic policies will be the damage inflicted upon America's reputation as a reliable trading partner and a leader in the global economy. His unpredictable actions, his disregard for international norms, and his willingness to weaponize trade for political gain have eroded trust among allies and adversaries alike, leaving the U.S. increasingly isolated on the world stage. The trade war, in particular, has strained relationships with some of America's closest allies, including Canada, Mexico, and the European Union. These countries, long accustomed to viewing the U.S. as a champion of free trade and a reliable partner, have been forced to respond in kind to Trump's tariffs, escalating tensions and undermining decades of economic cooperation. This loss of trust extends beyond trade. His attacks on the World Trade Organization, a cornerstone of the global trading system, have further undermined American leadership and credibility. The consequences of this erosion of trust are far-reaching. It will be difficult, if not impossible, to rebuild the relationships and institutions that have been damaged by Trump's actions. The U.S., once seen as a beacon of stability and predictability, is now viewed with suspicion and uncertainty, its actions watched with a wary eye. This loss of soft power, the ability to influence others through persuasion and example, will have lasting consequences for America's standing in the world. A world on edge, the global economic fallout of Trump's policies. The reverberations of Trump's economic policies have extended far beyond American shores, sending shockwaves through the global economy and leaving a trail of uncertainty and instability in their wake. The interconnected nature of the globalized world means that what happens in the United States, the world's largest economy, doesn't stay confined to its borders. Like a stone cast into a pond, the ripples of Trump's actions have spread outwards, impacting economies large and small, developed and developing alike. One of the most immediate and widespread consequences of Trump's trade war has been a slowdown in global economic growth. The International Monetary Fund, a global organization tasked with promoting economic stability and cooperation, has repeatedly downgraded its growth forecasts, citing trade tensions as a primary factor. The IMF has warned that a full-blown trade war could shave trillions of dollars off global GDP, pushing the world economy towards recession. Emerging markets, often reliant on exports to fuel their economic growth, have been particularly vulnerable to the fallout from Trump's trade policies. China, the world's second-largest economy and a major trading partner for many developing countries, has seen its growth slow to its lowest rate in decades. This slowdown has had a ripple effect on countries that supply raw materials and manufactured goods to China, creating a domino effect of economic pain. The uncertainty created by Trump's unpredictable actions has also had a chilling effect on global investment. Businesses, faced with the prospect of sudden changes in tariffs, trade policies, and even geopolitical alliances, have become increasingly hesitant to make long-term investments. This reluctance to invest has further dampened economic activity, creating a vicious cycle of slowing growth and declining confidence. Beyond tariffs and trade wars, the erosion of global cooperation. Trump's America First agenda has undermined global cooperation, leaving a vacuum filled by protectionism and isolationism. The World Trade Organization has been a particular target of Trump's ire, weakening its authority. Trump's withdrawal from the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the Paris Climate Agreement further eroded global cooperation. This retreat from multilateralism has emboldened other countries to follow suit. A fork in the road. Navigating the uncertain terrain of global trade. The global trading system is at a crossroads, challenged by populism, protectionism, and technological disruption. Can the system of free trade and multilateralism be reformed, or will it collapse? Some believe it can be saved, citing the benefits of free trade. Others argue that globalization has run its course. The future of global trade will shape the global economy and the lives of billions. It is a struggle influenced by political leaders, businesses, and citizens. The road ahead, uncertainty, and the future of global order. The world is at a crossroads. The old certainties and alliances are being tested as never before. Donald Trump has upended the rules, challenging international norms and leaving uncertainty in his wake. From Germany to Canada, the message is clear. Trump's America First nationalism is not popular. Tariffs, trade wars, and withdrawals from agreements have strained alliances. The future remains unwritten. The world is watching to see how the U.S. will navigate this turbulence. The decisions made now will shape the global order for decades. Will we return to multilateralism or descend into protectionism and conflict? The world is watching, and the choices we make today will determine the world we inherit tomorrow. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and comment.